You may have already watched the comprehension literary device video. This is very similar, but it's very important at the same time, so please listen through it. The following sentences are very important if you wish to up-level your writing, score the most points possible, and make your writing amazing. You will find a literary devices checklist at the end of every creative writing activity. Tick the devices you have used within your piece and you will be well on your way to better writing. This is the number one area that I want you to remember and practice. You can apply these methods to almost any style of writing to lift your communication skills and write like a professional novelist. At the end of the list, there is an example of a passage using all the sentences in order. Notice how it makes the writing more engaging and interesting. Make sure you vary your sentences by using the following devices. The most common literary devices in comprehension texts. When commenting on language you find in a comprehension, the following techniques are the most used by authors in their work. Make sure you know how each works so that you can identify them in your answers to get extra marks. 1. Description using adjectives and adverbs. You'll find interesting and different words used to describe a scene, such as the looming mountain rather than the tall mountain. 2. Adverbial starts and adverbial phrases. Adverbs describe verbs, so pretty much how an action is done. Silently, Matilda crept down the stairs. 3. Similes and personification. These compare one thing with another, usually using as or like. The grass was like a green soft carpet. Personification transforms an object or creature into having human-like qualities. Her hands were scaly like a reptile. The cat's eyes twinkled like those of a child up to mischief. 4. Time is used to set the scene. Authors and poets may use exact time, it was 3:45 p.m. General time, in the late afternoon. Indirect time, the sun rose casting red and orange streaks across the sky. 5. Place also sets the scene. Sitting at my desk, the summer fair was just ahead. 6. Dialogue can have a reference to who is saying it or follow down the page like a script. Standard dialogue is like this. "I really wasn't expecting this to happen," she replied. Split dialogue is a little more sophisticated, and that's a good one to use. "It wasn't my fault," he shouted. "She did it." 7. Parenthesis uses dashes and commas for extra information to make an author's writing more sophisticated. "It came to the time when we had to leave, and though we were not completely ready, we set off in anticipation of what was to come. The campsite was where we would set up our tent, for the very first time, amongst the many other tents." An author may use brackets for personal character opinions or secret information. "There was Molly, a horrible bully, sitting at a table in the corner of the cafe." 8. Metaphor is like a simile, except what you are comparing your subject to is that comparison. It often captures an author or character's outlook or opinion on life. "Life is a journey. She had a heart of stone." Am I talking to a brick wall? 9. A question or exclamation is an author's way of getting you to stop and think for a moment, or to reinforce their or their character's opinion. Rhetorical. A question used to make a point rather than seek an answer. We all know how this works, don't we? Command. "Line up right now." 10. Onomatopoeia. A word that is similar to and captures the sound it makes. Boom. Creak. 11. An ellipsis is a dramatic pause to build suspense and tension. She was rapidly heading towards the edge of a cliff when... "I don't know how to tell you this, but..." she hesitated. "You didn't make it on the team." 12. Short sentences are often used to break up a passage for drama, action and rhythm. "He stopped suddenly." Long sentences are used for description, feelings, and explanations. A cool breeze swept through his long dark curls as he collapsed on the spongy moss at the peak of the lonely mountain, sobbing in sadness for those he had left behind. 13. Alliteration. Alliteration is repeating an initial sound in adjacent words, that is, words right next to each other. The soothing sound of the music drifted across the park. Or, repeating sounds in a sentence not exactly adjacent. The river flowed round the bend, running quickly over the rocks. 14. Assonance. Assonance is similar to alliteration, except you repeat words with similar but not exact sounds. She fluffed up the soft feathery pillows on the sofa bed. Or a near rhyme. Neela ran down the road, eager to read the new poster announcing the new ride at the fair. When you can recognize most of these literary devices, your question answering will be perfect. Example using all the literary devices. The forest was dark and dense. The leaves crisscrossed to make an almost impenetrable wall, making it difficult for Dia to progress. Determinedly she pressed on, pushing the forest growth aside. Liana vines reached down with their snake-like length, tangling and tripping Dia as they stretched to the forest floor. The trees reached up into the canopy, creating towers culminating in a dark lush ceiling that let very little light through. It was only 1 p.m, but it felt like the middle of the night. The campsite was somewhere ahead in a clearing in the midst of the trees. How much further? Dia asked herself under her breath. I just can't take much more of this. Her family had been hiding in the forest for weeks, where no soldiers could possibly find them, and they occasionally heard the commands of their sergeants at the edge of the trees, too lazy to enter the rainforest's density. Life is a journey, Dia reminded herself as she remembered the happy times living in her village and going to school. Snap out of it, Dia, she reprimanded herself. She should be getting back to camp as quickly as possible and not reminiscing about better times. Hoo! The macaque monkeys were becoming active as Dia realized that it must now be nearing dinner time. She continued stumbling through the plant life. A few meters behind she heard a crack. She turned but could make nothing out. It was then that she saw a graceful grey trunk rise above the greenery. It was a baby elephant, elegantly stepping across the forest floor.